Thousands dead, $50 billion spent, ceasefires that last mere hours. Over a month later, the Iran war continues to destabilize the socioeconomic fabric of our world, and there is no end in sight. Hi, I'm Mussab Ali, and I'm running for Congress in New Jersey's 8th District. And today, we'll be breaking down the timeline of the war and my predictions for how the US, the Middle East, and even the world will be changed forever. The war formally started on February 28th, but the underlying causes started long before that. To understand the Iran war, you have to understand our country's relationship with Israel and AIPAC. AIPAC, otherwise known as the America-Israel Public Affairs Committee, is a lobbying organization that has one goal: advancing the interests of the Israeli government. Now, I know some of you might be wondering, what's so special about a lobbyist organization? There are tons of lobbies that exist in Washington, D.C. Well, AIPAC is particular in the way that it funds campaigns and makes sure that its members are very vocal about its issues. Across this country, AIPAC has what's known as handlers that are assigned to every single politician that's endorsed by AIPAC. And at this point in time, they're facing a lot of criticism because despite the fact that Republicans and Democrats can't seem to agree on anything, the one issue that has been the sacred bipartisan relationship down in Washington has been Israel. Ever since October 7th, however, Democrats have started to move a little bit on the issue of Israel. And today, more Democrats are sympathetic to Palestinians than to the people of Israel. And that is a shocker for the people of AIPAC, an existential crisis to their time down in Washington, D.C. AIPAC, its donors, and Netanyahu have been asking America to go to war with Iran for decades. And every single American president has said no, until Donald Trump. February 28th, the first day of Operation Epic Fury. At 2:35 Eastern Standard Time, the US and Israel began airstrikes on Iran, killing Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei. But to the US and Israel, that wasn't enough. Not even an hour later, airstrikes began killing civilians, including the Mussab Girls Elementary School, which caused 180 casualties. In retaliation, Iran targeted Haifa and Tel Aviv. The war continues to expand, and by March 5th, 13 countries are now involved: US, Israel, UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, Oman, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Lebanon, Cyprus, Iraq, and Azerbaijan. Innocent civilians completely uninvolved in the conflict began to feel the effects of the war. By March 10th, nearly 700,000 Lebanese civilians were displaced. By March 12th, Iran's new leader, Mussab Ali, officially closed the Strait of Hormuz to the US and its allies, one of the most important waterways in the world. If you're wondering why everything is getting rapidly more expensive, especially the price of gas, this is one of the most important reasons why. On March 17th, Joe Kent, Trump's national counterterrorism director, resigned over his beliefs that Iran was never an imminent threat to begin with, and that Trump started this war due to pressure from Israel and AIPAC. On the same day, several Iranian military leaders were killed by Israeli airstrikes. On April 7th, Trump announced an agreement to a 2-week ceasefire, given the Strait of Hormuz reopened. Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif echoed this, saying a ceasefire was in action everywhere, including Lebanon and elsewhere. But the very next day, Netanyahu denied the ceasefire included Lebanon and launched the biggest wave of attacks against the nation since the beginning of the war, killing at least 254 people. In response, Iran pauses Hormuz traffic. Trump and Vance claim that Sharif was incorrect in including Lebanon. And that leads us to today, April 14th. What's more important, though, is not just what's happened already, but what will happen. We'll do this in 3 main categories: the US, the Middle East, and the rest of the world. Let's talk about trust in the government. Right now, trust in the US government has already been at an all-time low. I mean, look, we just bombed an elementary school full of Iranian civilians. How does that mean people trust us anymore? The perception of the US government, once Trump got back into office, has already started to backslide. And now it's getting even worse. Our allies around the world are asking themselves the question, can we really rely on the United States to protect us? I mean, take South Korea, for example. We took a missile defense system out from South Korea and stationed in the Middle East. They're wondering to themselves, like, what's America's priority? Do they care about what's happening with China and Taiwan? Or are they only focusing all their eggs in the Middle East? If you look at the One Hemisphere project that Trump put out, it's very clear. He just wants to focus on the Western Hemisphere, and he's leaving the Eastern Hemisphere basically to China. Trump has also set a really bad precedent for anyone coming to office in the future. The expansion of the Article 2 powers under President Trump has meant that most things haven't gone through Congress. They've just been done through executive order. Even this war, the last time Congress actually declared war was back in World War II. Every conflict since then has been through the executive branch. Congress needs to step up and use their war powers resolution. But right now, you don't see any Republicans with the spine to step up against this president, despite the fact that this war is massively unpopular amongst the general public. Donald Trump ran on a platform of America First, promising to end all the conflicts around the world. But he just asked for $1.5 trillion in his 2027 budget for the Department of War. That doesn't sound like me to a man who's trying to wind down wars. It sounds like someone who's trying to expand US military intervention around the world. As I mentioned before, Israel used to be one of the few bipartisan issues in Congress, but we're starting to see Democrats toe a different line. AIPAC has become a toxic entity amongst Democrats. The DNC recently had a resolution calling out AIPAC by name. Now, that resolution didn't pass, but the DNC did say that dark money groups are no longer welcome to participate in these primaries. At the same time, you have high-ranking Democrats like Cory Booker, who has taken millions of dollars from AIPAC and its affiliates, coming out and saying, "I will no longer be accepting money from AIPAC." Democrats understand that their base is no longer in support of the Israeli government and Bibi Netanyahu, and they are responding to that anger. But Republicans are starting to see this too. The media personalities like Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes, and Candace Owens have made it very clear that America First does not mean Israel first. And so you are seeing a huge divide starting to take place within the Republican Party as well. Pete Hegseth just announced that 18 to 25-year-olds will be automatically registered into the military draft. And in response, this generation's #1 search term was fragging. For those of you that don't know, fragging is when you literally drop a grenade against your higher ranking officer because you are not in support of what's going on. This generation would rather go to jail than go to war. But enough about the US. Let's talk about the other side of this conflict, the Middle East. The biggest question everyone's been asking from the beginning of this war is, what is the goal of the United States in this intervention? And people were saying it's about a regime change. Well, we got a new regime, but I'm not sure the new person who's in power is exactly going to be an ally to the US. I mean, we literally just bombed his father. But it seems like Israel's biggest goal has been breaking the axis of resistance. Iran, Hezbollah, the Houthis, Hamas, and forces in Iraq. The question is, will they be successful? Let's talk about the Strait of Hormuz. If Iran is able to successfully tariff every single vessel that is going through one of the most important waterways in the world, projections indicate they could make an additional $70 billion a year. And if that happens, you will continue to see their country become more and more powerful within the region. There are other things on Netanyahu's mind. The end of this year marks an election year. By October 2026, we will know what the new parliament of Israel looks like. And let's not forget, prior to October 7th, there were people in the streets marching against Netanyahu's government and people who have called him out for war crimes. If I'm Netanyahu, the biggest thing I'm focused on is continuing this war to make sure that I get reelected. This war is also one of the first times we're seeing the advancement of AI and drone warfare. The US has admitted to using AI to identify military missile targets. And at the same time, we have asymmetric warfare, where we might have F-35 bomber jets. But these drones that are taking place, that are cheap to build, have the ability to target our most advanced weaponry. Everyone but our leaders in Congress want this war to end. But we can change this. Call your representative, tell them to support the War Powers Resolution, and most importantly, register to vote and vote for candidates who have the courage to fight for your interests, not the pro-Israeli lobbies. If you live anywhere here, then consider voting for me over my opponent, who has taken more than $1 million from AIPAC and its affiliates. Until next time, I'm Mussab Ali.